Hey guys, this is Jared with Razil's Revenge Gaming, giving you your weekly rundown for gaming news yet again. And I'll continue doing that until you all tell me that you hate me and you want me to die, or whatever. Anywho, I'd like to take a second to thank the new subscribers I've gotten on Minds and Twitter, and the one or two I've gotten on YouTube, so thank you guys for subscribing. Helps a hell of a lot. As always, just feel free to share my content, like, interact, and all that good stuff. And I guess we'll get to the news because there's actually a little bit of it. So yeah, I guess that we'll dive right into it. So I'm going to get you to reach back into your brains to 1997. Some of you may not have even been born by then, but you older people, like myself, might remember a game called Blade Runner. It's actually going to get remastered, and that's pretty badass because it was pretty revolutionary for its time. Anyways, it's going to get remastered for consoles, and it's supposed to be a Steam exclusive. We'll see how that goes because we all know that sometimes things will say it's a Steam exclusive, and then Epic does something weird and it becomes an Epic timed exclusive. So we'll see how that one goes. As far as the consoles go, yeah, that was my toes. Sorry about that. As far as consoles go, it'll be for PS4, Xbox, and your Switch. So that's kind of cool. Night Dive is doing it, and Night Dive actually restored. It was Turok and System Shock. So those guys know what they're doing. Also, another developer helping him. It's Alcon Entertainment. Um, they did some other stuff too. I can't remember quite right off the top of my head what they did. I forgot to jot stuff down about that, so that's my failure. But yeah, it should be called Blade Runner: The Enhanced Edition. It'll feature your standard upgrades to like an enhanced edition, which will be like updated character models, animations, cutscenes. It'll support your widescreen resolutions. Keyboard and controller customization is going to be a thing, and that's just kind of like all we know of so far. They're supposed to, or they did, bring in the foreign language translation thing that the first one had. It's going to be German, French, Italian, and Chinese. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool for, foreign language speakers and everything. But that's about all we know so far. Sounds really cool, though. I'm kind of excited about it. There's no release date. It's just supposed to drop this year, some point in time. I wouldn't really look for it until probably the end of the year, if at all. Usually, when there's no release date and it says it'll drop later this year, it's usually more than that. So keep your eyeballs peeled for that. Next up, which is kind of big news, you have your Command and Conquer remaster, and that's going to hit on June the 5th. Now, this is pretty badass. Been wanting this for a long time personally. It's going to come out, like I said, June 5th for on PC, which will be Steam and Origin. It'll include Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert with three expansion packs, Covert Ops, Counter Strike, and the Aftermath. It's supposed to support 4K resolution, which it does. If you follow me on my social media and watch the gaming trailers version 5 I did today, which I do every week on a Sunday. I shovel gaming trailers and stuff out for you guys to watch. But anyways, if you watch that, you'll see that there's like a vast difference between the original graphics and what they were able to do. I guess it really is 4K with what they could do, but the the remastered live action scenes look hella better. Like it's they did really good work. Um, there's going to be rebuilt multiplayer, an enhanced UI, and the soundtrack is actually remastered by the original guy who did the soundtrack to begin with. So that's pretty badass. So they reached back and got some OG talent. Um, if you're looking for it on Steam or Origin, you know, digitally it's going to be $20. There are two physical options though, but it's only available through limited run games. The special edition for 60, and there's a collector's edition for 150. The collector's edition, I mean, it seems pricey, I know, especially for such an old as hell game. But there's a metal mammoth tank replica, and there's vinyl Tesla coil and obelisks of light replicas, which I think are like little mini lamps or at least lights, I believe. So that's kind of cool. Um, Almost kind of want to get that just for the nostalgia sake, but I might hold back on that one. And as you can tell, I'm kind of a collector's edition whore, but we'll see what happens. So that's it for Command and Conquer. Next up would be a game that came out a while ago that probably a lot of people have forgotten about by now, but State of Decay 2. State of Decay 2. They released their Juggernaut edition on Friday the 13th, and it actually does a whole bunch of stuff for the game itself. It's a free update, so if you have the game already, even if it's on Game Pass, you get the update for free. So that's badass. Um, excuse me. Um, if you upgrade, it won't affect any communities that you have so far. It'll just be like a seamless transition, so you don't have to worry about starting a new community or your community, you know, not having the updated patch and all that good stuff. So that's cool that they were able to do that. It introduces a new map called Providence Ridge. It's a core map, so you can actually move to Providence Ridge from one of the other maps that you're on or start out on it. I don't know what kind of resources and all that good stuff that it has if you want to make it like one of your starting maps or whatever, but I mean, it might be cool just to start out on a new map and then migrate to the older ones. The map, Providence Ridge, the new one, is comparable in size to the other to the other maps, so that's pretty cool. They were able to shovel a full-size new area into the update. There's graphical improvements across all four maps. There's also 7 new achievements, which will tally up to 150 gamer score in total. There's it's not really like a new weapon class, but there's new heavy weapons that will supposedly like reward players that know how to use heavy weapons with like timing and all that, and so you're not wasting stamina. That's kind of interesting. There's audio improvements. There's an enhanced tutorial for noobs, which is really cool. There's also a like after end game tutorial just to kind of like, I guess, let you know what you can continue doing. So that's kind of cool. And one of the really good things that they did, they gave stealth and dodge their own separate buttons. So that's really badass. I'm amazed at the update they gave, and I mean it's a free update, so you don't have to pay for it, none of that good stuff. So if you enjoy State of Decay 2 and you kind of put it down like I did, there's a reason to go back to it, which I'm going to do probably after I get done making this video, and I might do one or two other ones because I got a kind of a bone to pick with, I don't want to say Kotaku, but I don't even really want to say Jason, but I got a bone to pick about the whole crunch situation with Naughty Dog, but I'll save that for another video. So that'll do that for State of Decay 2. This might interest some of you. I don't know how a lot of you are with narrative games, but Vampire the Masquerade is going to release a game on the Switch called Vampire the Masquerade Coteries, I hope I'm saying that right, of New York. It'll hit the Switch on March 24th, and it's supposed to come out on the Xbox and PS4 like at a later date. So don't really know what that will be. But the Switch version will have new character portraits, new location backgrounds, and an improved audio design. Uh, the game is a narrative-driven experience set in the Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition world. There's only pre-made characters, so it kind of sucks that you can't make your own, but there's 3 pre-made characters. There's a Ventru, a Toreador, and a Bruja, and it's got character-oriented quests to introduce like unique NPCs and all that, so that's kind of cool. There's actually 4 unique ones that you can meet. One's a Tremere, one is a Nosferatu, and weirdly enough, one's a Malkavian, so that in and of itself probably means the story is going to be pretty damn interesting, because usually whenever a Malkavian shows up, it's just, I don't really want to say chaos, but it's never a fun time. It's going to take multiple playthroughs to actually experience everything the game has to offer, so that's really cool. I like games that do that because it gives like a replay value and all. So I guess if you're interested in narrative games, especially set in the VTM universe, and you own a Switch, be prepared for that to hit on the 24th. And like I said, for the PS4 and the Xbox, there's no date yet, but just keep on the lookout for it. Next, we'll go to... Oh, Todd McFarlane actually wants to create a standalone Spawn game, which is really badass, and I hope it happens, because the older Spawn games, I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but they were cool just because they were Spawn games, but they also sucked. So anyways, the cool thing about it though is he wants it to be completely separate from the comics and the movies. Like, he doesn't want the game to tie into the comics or the movies at all. He actually wants an entirely new, like, origin story for Spawn in the video game. So, as odd as that may sound, that's actually pretty cool as well. There's no, like, tentative release date or anything like that. If anything, it'll definitely be next gen, just because of, I guess, what he wants to be able to accomplish with the story and graphics and gameplay and everything. So I thought that'd be kind of cool to throw in there if I had any people who enjoyed McFarlane and Spawn. The next item on the list is CD Projekt Red confirms that they're actually going to work on a new Witcher project as soon as Cyberpunk releases. So look forward to that, which is really cool. They're already pretty much saying that any game that they release from here on out, not like an indefinite, but just from here on out, that it'll take place in either the Cyberpunk universe or the Witcher universe. So I guess they have found their cash cow, and that's just what they're going to do, which is fine because they do badass work, and I'm sure they won't just milk the universes for what they can. They'll actually be really good games. Moving on. This should come as no surprise to my Sony and PlayStation fanboys, so, woohoo here. But Sony plans to focus more on strong, narrative-driven single-player experiences for the PS5, which has kind of worked out really well for them this generation. I mean, I just, Neo and Bloodborne, God of War, just to name a few. I guess I can include The Last of Us since they did the remaster. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. The boss of the PlayStation's Worldwide Studios, which is like, Worldwide Studios is the internal network for first-party studios in Sony, says that, like I said, they're going to focus on the single-player narrative games, but they're not going to stray away from experimenting with new ideas and just, trying new things. So that's cool. It just means you won't get like the same regurgitated gameplay with a slightly different story from something else. I mean, you know, you know how developers and stuff can fall into just the rut of, oh well, it's, number one new story, number two is kind of like, all right, you gave me a different story, but you didn't really do much different. So let's hope that that actually pans out. And good luck to Sony there, which I don't really know if they're going to need it next generation, but I think they're going to need more. I mean, definitely more than what they had this go around, just simply because of Microsoft's like scope. Um, that's going to be really hard to compete with, especially if you're kind of just focusing on like your bubble. I mean, they got a strong bubble, mind you, but do they have what it takes to keep the bubble? I don't I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's all I got for news so far. Next on would be the rumors. And again, these are rumors. Take them with a grain of salt. May or may not be a thing. May not happen. Nothing. Rumors. Strictly that. Not set in stone. So, first on the agenda here is the hope and dream of multiple Silent Hill projects are supposed to be in the works. Um, and that's really cool, but we all know, one, Silent Hill projects have a tendency to get axed, even if they're in development. Two, I have to just defer to the first one is they have a tendency to get axed. I mean, it might be a thing, it might not. But anyways, they're supposed to do like an actual legit Silent Hill reboot. Then there's going to be like an episodic Silent Hill experience, kind of like they did with The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, stuff like that. Kind of cool, I guess. I'm just really tired of the episodic model because just give me the fucking game. And last little tidbit on the Silent Hill thing is there's supposed to be an entirely new Silent Hill project from Kojima and Konami and Sony. It's not set in stone. I believe I just read something to where there was a leak and it's supposed to be set in stone that that's actually going to happen. But again, even though the leaker is pretty damn spot on most of the time, take it with a grain of salt. So if you're excited about Silent Hill, you might have a pretty good upcoming beginning of the next generation of consoles and stuff, because if this is true, I have a feeling that it will be something that is to help usher in the new generation of consoles. Moving on with another rumor. Activision is supposedly in development of a game to replace Destiny. We all know what happened with Destiny. If you don't, like, too long didn't read version, Bungie basically said, fuck you, I'm taking my IP and gonna go play somewhere else, is what happened. And Activision is now feeling that loss monetarily, so they're going to try and develop a game to replace Destiny. Now, supposedly it's already in development. However, given the current state of the market for, like, I don't even want to say like first person shooter MMOs, but just shooter MMOs in general, if Activision doesn't make something that is just fucking mind blowing, I can foresee like an Anthem scenario happening all over again. Because let's be honest, that genre is pretty heavily saturated, and there's only so much that you can do with that particular genre. It's like for some strange reason, people can't blend like an MMO, like a traditional MMO, with like auction houses, player houses, like legit, real, thought out content, so forth and so forth, with a shooter and like loot and stuff. It's really weird, man. There's for some reason they can't combine those to get something like if Borderlands had an MMO. I mean, I understand there's engine limits and software limits and so forth, but you would think by now that we'd have something figured out. But anywho, that's something to keep your eyeballs out for, because despite all the negative shit I just said, I like the genre and usually give those games a shot. So if it does end up coming out, fuck it, I'll give it a play. Last but not least, we have Warner Bros. Entertainment and NetherRealm Studios might be working on an Injustice 3. Pure pure fan speculation, just simply because of the Joker being in Mortal Kombat, and I guess that led to people wondering. Anyways, that's, yeah, pure fan speculation. Jesus. Anyways, there's also, they might also do another Middle Earth game. Nothing is set in stone with that yet. If they do, it's going to be next gen, hands down, without a doubt. The only thing that makes people speculate on this one is that Monolith Studios, who brought you Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, have been hiring, not like crazy, but they've been kind of hiring aggressively for a new project. And I guess since those are the only two games that they really have done recently that anyone cared about, that's where the rumor came from that it might be another Middle Earth setting game. So, keep your eyeballs peeled for that, or I'll keep my eyeballs peeled for it too and let you guys know. And that's it. That's all I got. I tried to breeze through this one because, like I said, I had a lot to go through. And I plan on doing another video about the crunch scenario at Naughty Dog that poor old Jason from Kotaku seems to only be able to put out articles like that anymore. Dude's a great writer. I mean, he really is. He puts out some good shit. But lately, that's basically all he's written about is crunch and my poor devs, or, I don't even really want to say this, but like just my SJW issues, stuff like that. It's weird, and I guess it just finally got on my nerves, especially with some of the crap that I read in the article. If you have time to read it, by all means, go read it, but pay attention to almost every paragraph, because you'll find that you'll read sentences in there from employee first-hand accounts that kind of contradict what goes down. And just, I'm going to do a video about it. Yeah. And like I said, go read the article. It's actually not that bad of a read. It's just, if you keep up with the gaming industry, you're tired of hearing about it, because what the hell, dude? Everybody goes through crunch. It's part of being in the workforce. But anyways, that's it. That's all I've got for today as far as your gaming news rundown goes. And as always, everybody, I appreciate you for putting up with my bullshit. And as always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help push my little brand out there, so I can, start doing this way more legitimately than I'm trying to do right now. And just have yourselves a safe week, good Monday, all that good shit, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Take it easy.